Hello and welcome to Bangla City SATV News. This is Nahin Tahir with our headlines. Russia announces ceasefire in Ukraine 10 days after military operation. Starting from today, 5 Bangladeshi hostages in the military base. World is stunned by sudden death of Australian cricket legend Shane Warne. Prime Minister announced a funeral with state honours. Depression over the Southwest Bay and adjoining areas intensifying. Maritime ports have been advised to stay vigilant. Russian Defense Ministry declared a partial ceasefire to allow humanitarian corridors out of the Ukrainian cities of Mariupol and Volodymyr, and Russia's Defense Ministry said on Saturday. However, war raged in Ukraine for a 10th day on Saturday as Russian troops besieged and bombarded cities. Dalian Ilafar has the latest.
The Russian side declares a ceasefire and the opening of humanitarian corridors to allow civilians to leave the cities. The fighting has created over 1 million refugees, a barrage of sanctions that are increasingly isolating Moscow, and fears in the West of a wider global conflict that has been unthought of for decades. Moscow said its invasion is a special operation to capture individuals it regards as dangerous nationalists and has denied targeting civilians. Meantime, Kiev, in the path of a Russian military column that has been stalled outside the Ukrainian capital for days, came under renewed assault with explosions audible from the city center. Meanwhile, Ukrainian authorities saying that there is a risk of fighting in the city streets, urging residents to stay in shelters. Meantime, the southeastern port city of Mariupol, a key prize, Russian forces also have encircled and shelled. There is no water, heat or electricity and food is running out, said city mayor. Separately, President Vladimir Putin's actions have drawn almost universal condemnation, and many countries have imposed heavy sanctions as the West balances punishment with avoiding a widening of the conflict. On the flip side, fighting back in the information war, Russia's parliament passed a law on Friday imposing a prison term of up to 15 years for spreading intentionally fake news about the military. Besides, Russia is blocking Facebook for restricting state-backed channels and the websites of the BBC, Deutsche Welle and Voice of America. US media outlets CNN and CBS News said they would stop broadcasting in Russia, and other outlets removed Russian-based journalists' bylines as they assessed the situation. Dalian Ilafar, SATV News Desk.
About 120 people, including women and children from different nations, have been stranded in Zhuravchi, a border city in Ukraine. Among them, 5 are Bangladeshi. Riyad Malik, who has been stranded in the camp along with 4 fellow Bangladeshis, mentioned although the detention center had all kinds of facilities before, since the conflict intensified, those facilities started becoming scarce. They are currently enduring lack of adequate food, water, electricity and all other necessities. He claimed that the camp is operated under European Union. He also said if Russia decides to bomb or send missiles around this area, not a single soul will survive. Bangladeshis end up using different routes in order to reach Europe. However, the Bangladesh embassy is working through the international organization on for migration to rescue and repatriate Bangladeshis in Ukrainian prisons or detention centers. With the depression over Southwest Bay and adjoining areas intensifying, the maritime ports of Chittagong, Cox's Bazar, Bangla and Para have been advised to stay vigilant. The depression over Southwest Bay and adjoining areas moved northwestwards and intensified into a deep depression and lay centered over the same area at 6 a.m. today. Reports said it is likely to intensify further and move in northwesterly direction. Maximum sustained wind speed is within 48 kilometers of the deep depression center. Met Office said sea will remain moderate near the deep depression center. All fishing boats and trawlers over the North Bay and deep sea have been advised to proceed with the caution. Bangladesh and India have agreed to open border and ensure 24 hours operation of integrated checkposts at Benapole Metropole, soon to facilitate trade between the two neighboring countries, said Indian Commerce Ministry. The border huts were closed for long and full-time operation in Benapole Metropole ICP was hampered due to COVID-19 restrictions. The decision for opening the border huts and implementation of 24/7 operation of Benapole Metropole ICP was taken at the annual Bangladesh in India Commerce Secretary level meeting concluded in New Delhi yesterday. In a statement issued by Indian Commerce Ministry today, said both sides held extensive discussion on a variety of issues of mutual interest when significant progress was made on multimodal connectivity between Bangladesh and India. Viewers, we are taking a short break. Stay with your Bangla City SATV News. Welcome back, and you're watching your Bangla City SATV News. Legendary Australian leg spinner Shane Warne has died of a suspected heart attack at the age of 52. His death has cast a shadow of mourning over world cricket. Arifuddin Nobin has the details.
Australian greatest leg spinner Shane Warne has taken retirement from the innings of life at the age of 52. The legend will not come back in cricket ground and in commentary box anymore. On Friday afternoon, Warne was to watch coverage of the Australia-Pakistan Test with plans to meet his friends again that night to have drinks and dinner. His final Instagram message was to wish good night. However, when Warne did not arrive as scheduled, his friends returned to the room and found the 52-year-old unresponsive. Meanwhile, world cricket has been very sorrowing for his early death. Cricketer personalities posted their condolences about Shane Warne on social media. Shane played on 45 tests and on 94 ODIs between 1992 and 2007. Warne, who was chosen as one of Wisden's 5 cricketers of the century, finished his career with 293 wickets in ODIs and 708 wickets in tests. As his career flourished, he went on to win the World Cup in 1999 and was the player of the match in the final against Pakistan with figures of 4 for 33. Shane is the name of history, a name of record. He is the name of inspiration for young cricketers. Shane will remain in the heart of his fans and will remain in cricket history as a king of leg spinner. Arifuddin Nobin, SATV News Desk.
The death toll rises to 58 in the suicide bombing at a Shia mosque during Friday prayers in the northwestern Pakistani city of Peshawar. Nearly 200 people injured in that incident, hospital officials said. ISIS claimed the responsibility for the bombing in a statement which would make it one of the biggest attacks carried out by the group inside Pakistan. Police said an armed man who arrived near the mosque on a motorcycle opened fire when he was stopped by police before forcing his way into a crowded hall and detonating his suicide vest. India's West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee suffered a back injury after her flight on which she was returning to Kolkata from Varanasi on Friday evening encountered a spot of air turbulence causing the plane to shake erratically. The pilot, however, managed to steer the chartered flight away from the air pocket and land safely. Trinamool spokesperson said there was a lot of anxiety and panic on the flight due to the sharp altitude drop. Weather officials said there was no turbulence forecast and the weather condition that had developed was sudden and extremely localized. However, the plane landed 20 minutes after it encountered the rough weather. Banerjee had boarded the flight from the Varanasi airport on Friday afternoon. World food prices hit a rough record in February, jumping 24.1% year-on-year, led by a surge in vegetable oil and dairy products, the UN Food Agency said on Friday. In Food and Agriculture Organization's food price index averaged 140.7 points last month against a downwardly revised 135.4 in January. The figure was previously given as 135.7. Higher food prices have contributed to a broader surge in inflation as economies recover from the coronavirus crisis, and the FAO has warned that the higher costs are putting poorer population at a risk in countries reliant on imports. Bangladesh lost their first match by 32 runs to South Africa. Bangladeshi girls could not make bright performance in the World Cup debut match. Bangladesh sent South Africa to bat after winning the toss at the University Oval in Dunedin. The South African girls lost all their wickets and scored 207 runs. Bangladesh made a good start by batting in reply. Shamima Sultana and Sharmeen Akhtar scored 69 runs in the opening partnership. Shamima Sultana made 27 off 50 balls and Sharmeen Akhtar made 34 off 77 balls. After the departure of these two openers, Bangladesh was in trouble. Other batters have been failed to reach the expected score. Before ending, we go through Euro-Bangla City SATV News headlines again. Russia announces ceasefire in Ukraine 10 days after military operations. Starting from today, 5 Bangladeshi hostages in military base. World is stunned by the sudden death of Australian cricket legend Shane Warne. Prime Minister announced the funeral with state honours. Depression over the Southwest Bay and adjoining areas intensifying. Maritime ports have been advised to stay vigilant. You're up to date with our top stories so far in Euro-Bangla City SATV News, and to know the latest in SATV News, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with us.